I always thought betrayal would come crashing down like thunder. Loud. Explosive. Obvious. But for me, it started with a tiny piece of foil on the bathroom rug. No drama. Just a shimmer in the morning light. I'd just gotten up. Lights still off. Only a sliver of sun cutting through the window. I stepped into the bathroom, ready to shave, and there it was, something shiny on the floor. I paused. Bent down. It was small. Round. Silver. The kind of backing you get when you push a pill through a blister pack. I flipped it over. On the back, a little number, A2, Tuesday's pill. And that? That was the moment everything changed. Because today wasn't Tuesday. It was Wednesday. Which meant Tuesday's pill had been taken. Now, I wasn't on any meds. Haven't been for years. I'm healthy. I take aspirin sometimes, maybe a multivitamin. That's it. And Vanessa? My wife? Far as I knew, she wasn't taking anything either. We both had checkups not long ago. No prescriptions. Clean bill of health. So why was a birth control pill foil on our bathroom floor? I felt a cold weight settle in my gut. She used to be on the pill, years ago. Before we made the decision. The final decision. We didn't want more kids. So I got the vasectomy. We agreed on it together. She stopped taking the pill after that. At least, that's what she told me. So either she never stopped, or she just started again. And the only reason to start again? She was worried about getting pregnant. But not with me. With someone else. I didn't confront her. Not right away. See, I'm not the kind of man who storms in yelling. I'm methodical. I'm an engineer. I don't move without data. So I picked up the foil. Looked at it one last time. Then put it back exactly where I found it. I left the bathroom just like it was. Clean. Undisturbed. And I went to work. But I didn't open any of the blueprints that day. I didn't answer emails. I didn't return calls. I sat at my desk and started researching. DNA test kits. Mini cameras. Phone cloning software. Surveillance tools. I wasn't messing around. If she was cheating on me, I needed more than suspicion. I needed proof. I ordered everything. Had it shipped to the office, not the house. Couldn't risk her seeing it. Then I waited. Each day crawled. And during those days, I watched her like a hawk. She acted normal. Woke up the same time. Made breakfast like usual. Took care of the kids. Kissed me before I left for work. Even got intimate once or twice. No strange perfume. No mysterious absences. No secret smiles at her phone. If she was cheating, she was covering it like a pro. But I kept watching. The gear arrived that Friday. I told Vanessa I had a light day and came home early. The nanny, au pair, was with the kids. Feeding them dinner. She barely looked up as I walked in. Good. I went upstairs and got to work. Installed the mini cameras in 3 rooms, the bathroom, a bedroom, and the living room. I needed to know if she was really taking those pills. And who she was talking to when I wasn't around. Later that night, when the kids were asleep, I took cheek swabs from both of them. James, 5 years old. Sonia, 3. They thought it was a silly game. Daddy playing doctor with a Q-tip. They smiled. I didn't. Then I swabbed myself. Packed up all 3 samples. and mailed them to the lab. Results promised in 48 hours. That same night, after Vanessa went to shower, I slipped into the garage and opened her car door. Planted a voice recorder under the seat. Then I cloned her phone. Pulled her texts. Her emails. Call logs. Nothing. No evidence. No flirty messages. No late-night calls. Her digital trail was spotless. Either I was wrong, or she was smarter than I thought. The weekend came. We did the usual. Chores. Grocery store. A trip to the park with the kids. She laughed. She looked relaxed. She even initiated intimacy Sunday morning. If she was hiding something, it was buried deep. Monday morning, I told her I'd be working from home. She left as usual, kissing me goodbye at the door. I waited 10 minutes. Then pulled the SD cards from all 3 cameras. Loaded the footage onto my computer. Started with the bathroom. There it was. Vanessa. Each morning, like clockwork, standing by the mirror, taking a small white pill. Every day. Same time. Same hand movement. Same packaging. Same damn lie. She was back on birth control. And had been for weeks. I felt my heart slam against my ribs. But I kept watching. Then I saw something that made me freeze. Saturday night. While I was downstairs making dinner, she stepped out of the shower. Walked into the bedroom. Opened a drawer. Pulled out a phone. Not her phone. Not the one I cloned. A second phone. A secret phone. She typed something quickly. Then walked over to the air vent. The one in our room. Opened it with practiced hands. And slid the phone inside. I stared at the screen. Speechless. That was why I never found anything. She was hiding her real life in a second phone. A whole hidden world behind drywall and secrets. I waited for my moment. Next evening, while she was showering again, I quietly opened the vent from the other side. The adjoining wall in Sonia's room gave me access. The phone was there. I took it. Cloned it. Fast. Hands shaking. Heart racing. Then I returned it to the vent, just seconds before the water stopped. I pretended to be watching Sonia sleep when she walked in. She smiled. I didn't. The next day at work, I opened the clone data. And the world I thought I lived in? Disappeared. The moment I opened that cloned phone, my heart sank straight to the floor. Every message, every photo, every timestamp, it was all there. Her affair. Her real life. The one she'd carefully hidden from me for who knows how long. The texts were raw. Unfiltered. Private conversations that read like daggers to the chest. Can't wait to feel your hands on me again. He has no clue. His dumb little business trip made it so easy. They laughed about me. Planned their hookups around my schedule. Used my travel calendar to schedule their betrayals. They even joked about me getting a vasectomy. Best gift he ever gave us. Total freedom. Us? I read that word over and over again. She wasn't talking about me and her. She was talking about her and him. The other man. They never used names. Just you, babe, daddy, the usual room. No names meant no proof. But I already had enough. That second phone. The birth control. The secret messages. She was living a double life. And I'd been raising kids? Who might not even be mine. I couldn't breathe. I sat at my desk, hunched over, the air sucked out of the room. Then Michelle walked in. My assistant. Sharp. No nonsense. She'd worked with me for years. Never crossed a line. Until that moment. She closed the office door. Sat down across from me. And said quietly, "Tell me what happened." I didn't even argue. Didn't put on a mask. I told her everything. The foil on the bathroom floor. The cameras. The voice recorder. The DNA kits. The second phone. All of it. She didn't interrupt. She didn't flinch. When I was finished, she looked me in the eyes and said, "We need a plan. And we need to move fast." I nodded slowly. She stood up, walked to my side, and handed me a plane ticket. "You going to Portland today? Surprise inspection. You'll be gone until Thursday." I blinked. We hadn't scheduled anything in Portland. She looked dead serious. "Vanessa's gonna get suspicious if you hang around too much. We need her to keep thinking everything's normal." Michelle then texted Vanessa from my phone. "Crisis at the Portland office. Back Thursday." Vanessa replied in seconds. "So sorry, babe. Hope it's nothing too serious." I stared at the screen. She had no idea. Michelle handed me a card. "Lorraine Bixby. Divorce attorney. She's mine. She's a shark. Go see her before your flight." So I did. Lorraine was waiting. Tidy office. Piercing eyes. No sympathy. She listened. Asked hard questions. Took notes. Then laid out my options. "You can do nothing. File for an amicable divorce. Or, we go nuclear." I didn't hesitate. "I want nuclear." Her lips curled in a thin smile. "Then we do it right. We gather everything. The phone. The texts. The timeline. The DNA. We build an airtight case." I handed her the cloned phone. "Good. We'll extract everything. Cross-reference. We'll find him." Michelle met me outside. Took me to a small hotel. Shower. Sleep. Don't touch the minibar. You need a clear head. But I didn't sleep. Not really. My life was burning down. And I was just standing there, watching the flames. That night, I got a text from the DNA lab. "Results ready by 3 p.m. tomorrow." I couldn't bring myself to open it. Michelle promised she'd do it with me. The next morning, we met in a quiet diner. Corner booth. No music. No noise. At exactly 3 p.m., she took my phone. Loaded the results page. Her eyes scanned the screen. And then she whispered, "I'm sorry." I took the phone with shaking hands. 2 names. 2 kids. 0 matches. Neither of them? James or Sonia? Were mine. I just stared at the table. My whole world. Everything I'd poured my love into? Was fake. I felt a scream building in my throat, but it never came out. Just silence. Michelle reached across the table, her voice firm. "Stay focused. Or you'll lose everything." I nodded. We got in the car. Drove straight to Lorraine's office. She had news of her own. "We have footage. Saturday night. A man entered your home. Used a key. Vanessa let him in. We watched the clip together. The front door opened. My son, no. Her son ran into the man's arms. Daddy Bill. My stomach turned. There it was. The name. The final piece. Bill. Bill Wainwright. Vanessa's boss. A senior executive. Married. 2 kids of his own. He had violated his company's strict non-fraternization policy. Had a long-standing affair with my wife. And apparently fathered my kids. Lorraine leaned forward. We can go after him for alienation of affection. Sue the company for negligence. File for full asset protection under infidelity and fraud. My head was spinning. Michelle drove me back to the hotel. This time, she didn't leave. She sat with me. Made sure I ate something. Said nothing. Just stayed. The next day, we began the real moves. First, the business. I met with my lawyer, Brian Spencer. Old friend. Handled all our corporate filings. He reminded me of the prenup. She can't touch the business, he said. Only your salary. Your house. Your private accounts. Then he gave me the real advice. Buy out Robert. Our co-partner. Use everything you can. Funnel your cash into the company. Refinance the house if needed. Make yourself look broke. Legally. It was brutal. But smart. I called Robert. Told him the truth in one sentence. Vanessa's been cheating since day one. He didn't hesitate. He sold me his shares by lunch. Brian drew up the contracts. By 4 p.m. that day, I was the majority shareholder. I'd taken a personal financial hit, but my company was now untouchable. That evening, Michelle checked the lawsuit filings. Lorraine had filed everything. Divorce. Adultery. Fraud. Emotional distress. Papers were scheduled for delivery the next morning. To Vanessa. To Bill. To HR at their company. And that was when the clock started ticking. The final countdown had begun. Tuesday morning. 10 a.m. sharp. That's when it all hit. First, my phone buzzed. An email. Service confirmed. Divorce papers delivered. 30 seconds later. Another notification. Suit filed against Bill Wainwright, personal and professional misconduct. Then one more. Corporate negligence claim filed with HR department. All within minutes. I sat back in my chair. Watching the timer I had set count down to 0. I didn't feel joy. Didn't feel rage. Just focus. This wasn't revenge. Not yet. This was the beginning of consequences. But it didn't take long before the reaction came. My phone started ringing. First call, my mother. Gary, what is this? Her voice was tight. Confused. We got a letter. So did your father. You, really doing this? I stayed calm. Did you read it? I did. And I don't believe it. This is Vanessa. Your wife. The mother of your children. I corrected her. They're not my children. Silence. Then she said quietly. They're yours in every way that matters. I didn't raise my voice. Didn't argue. They were built on a lie. My mom tried again. You raised them. From birth. You think that doesn't count? I didn't respond to that. Because deep down, I wanted to agree with her. But I couldn't. The betrayal ran too deep. She pushed one more time. You punishing them for something Vanessa did. You think they won't suffer? And that's when I snapped. What the hell are you saying, Mom? That I should just pretend this never happened? That I should keep being daddy to someone else's kids just to make you feel better? There was no answer. I ended the call. My phone rang again. This time, it was Vanessa. Her voice trembled. Gary, we need to talk. I said nothing. I'm coming home. Click. I hung up. She still called it home. As if it belonged to her. Michelle, always one step ahead, gave me space. She packed her things, gave me a quick hug, and said, I'll be nearby if you need backup. And then I waited. Vanessa showed up 20 minutes later. Stormed into the house like she owned it. Straight to my office. Gary? I raised my hand. Stop. She blinked. Caught off guard. I'm not interested. But? Not interested, I repeated. She looked stunned. Don't you even want to hear what I have to say? No. My voice was ice. You lied to me for 9 years. You let me raise children that weren't mine. You watched me get a vasectomy, while you were still sleeping with him. Her eyes widened. So she hadn't expected me to know that. I pressed on. You convinced me to close the door on fatherhood. And all that time, you were already a mother. To his children. She started to speak. I shut her down. My lawyer's information is in the envelope you were served. If you have anything important to say, talk to her. She looked desperate now. What about the children? I stood. Walked to the door. Opened it. What children? She flinched. I don't have children. If it were up to you, I never would have had any. She opened her mouth again. I stopped her cold. I don't want to hear another lie. I don't want to hear your voice. I just want this over. And then I raised my voice. Anya! The AU pair came into the room, nervously twisting her hands. I pointed. You fired. Effective immediately. Get your things and get out. What? Why? Because you covered for her. I have recordings of you talking to Bill. Letting him in. Smiling while you handed him my daughter. Who wasn't mine. Vanessa stepped in. You can't do that. I pay her. Not anymore. I cut her off. I already informed the agency. You blacklisted. If Vanessa wants to keep paying you under the table, she'll be responsible for your taxes, benefits, insurance, everything. Anya's face went pale. She grabbed her purse and left without another word. Vanessa stood frozen. I turned back to her. Now you, pack your things. Take your kids. And get the hell out of my house. This is our house. No. I walked over to the drawer. Pulled out the title. It's in my name. Always has been. Until the court says otherwise, you're a guest. She trembled. Then, a small voice behind her. Mommy? James. She turned around. Sonia fell down, he said. She rushed out. I didn't move. I stayed in my office. Door shut. Hands shaking. Jaw locked. 10 minutes passed. She returned. Holding Sonia. Her eyes met mine. Are you really not going to say goodbye to them? Don't even say it. I glared at her. She's not my daughter. He's not my son. Take them to their real father. Let him deal with this mess. She opened her mouth. Get out. And she did. I heard the door close. The engine start. Then silence. I collapsed into the chair. Broke. And that's when Michelle came in. She'd been waiting just outside. No words. Just sat next to me. Let me cry. It didn't last long. Because Michelle? She wasn't here for comfort. She was here to finish what we started. We're not done. She filed a restraining order against you. I looked at her, stunned. What? Claimed emotional harm. Trying to lock you out of your own house. I felt the fury return. But Michelle just smiled coldly. Lorraine's on it. It won't stick. And it didn't. The judge reviewed the footage, the evidence, the timestamps. Order overturned. Vanessa was forced to leave. She moved in with her parents. And Bill? Bill lost his job the same day. The HR department had seen enough. Fraternization with a subordinate. Secret children. Lawsuit incoming. He was done. But me? I was just getting started. The next few days? They moved fast. Too fast. But I didn't have time to grieve. Didn't have time to process. I had a war to finish. Bill's company? They folded quickly. Turns out, he'd already been under HR scrutiny. Vanessa wasn't the only one. But she was the only one who got pregnant. Twice. Their legal team reached out. Wanted to resolve the matter quietly. My attorney? Didn't bite. We are not negotiating. We are demanding. You let this man run wild. Now it's your turn to pay. They settled. A high six-figure sum. No admission of guilt. But a payout that made one thing clear. They didn't want this going public. Meanwhile, Lorraine filed a separate lawsuit. Personal. Against Bill. Alienation of affection. It's rare. Hard to prove in most states. But we had everything. The texts. The footage. The timeline. The birth certificates. He was the father. Not once, but twice. And he knew it. Vanessa's name was on every lie. But his fingerprints were all over it. He tried to deny it at first. Said it was casual. Said he didn't know. Said he wasn't sure. But once the DNA results hit his desk, he stopped talking. His wife left him. Took their kids. Cleaned out their accounts. Then came the kicker. Vanessa, in a desperate move, filed for custody support. Against me. Yeah. You heard that right. She tried to force me, the man who'd just proven the kids weren't his, to keep paying support. Her logic? You raised them. You're the only father they've ever known. My response? Not anymore. The court agreed. The DNA evidence cleared me. I had no legal obligation. No financial responsibility. No emotional tie. But let me tell you something. That hurt more than I expected. Because those kids? I did love them. Even if they weren't mine. But love built on lies isn't love. It's delusion. And I was done living in one. After the court rulings, I made one more move. I sold the house. Took a loss. Didn't care. I couldn't walk through those halls anymore. Couldn't look at that staircase where James took his first steps. Couldn't stand in that kitchen where Sonia said "Dada" for the first time. Too many ghosts. Too many memories poisoned by betrayal. Michelle helped me move. We didn't talk much during that drive. Just loaded boxes. Unloaded boxes. Worked in silence. Until we were done. I was staying in her spare room. Temporarily, I told myself. But deep down? I didn't know where else to go. She never asked questions. Never pried. She just made sure I had clean towels. Coffee in the morning. A quiet space to think. At work, things stayed professional. But after hours? Something shifted. She hovered a little more. Checked on me more often. I wasn't sure if it was pity. Or something else. Then came the final blow. One night, a week after the divorce was finalized. My phone rang. Michelle answered it. She'd been helping manage my calls during all the legal chaos. Her face went pale. "It's about Bill." I sat up. "What happened?" She hesitated. Then said it straight. "He's dead." I blinked. "What?" His wife found him with Vanessa. Again. This time, she brought a gun. There was silence. Long. Cold. Heavy. I didn't say anything at first. Then. Couldn't have happened to a nicer guy. Michelle didn't laugh. But she didn't argue either. A few hours later, she brought me an envelope. It was the final settlement from Bill's personal assets. A check. Big enough to cover the loan I'd taken to buy out my partner. Big enough to wipe away the last financial stain from the past 9 years. I held the check in my hands. Looked at the number. Exhaled. For the first time in months, I felt something close to peace. I'd lost my marriage. Lost 2 kids I thought were mine. Lost time. Years. But I had my business. My freedom. And my dignity. Michelle stepped into the room quietly. She looked at me. Then, without a word, walked up. And kissed me. Not softly. Not hesitantly. It was full. Intentional. Strong. I didn't pull away. When she finally stepped back, her eyes were locked on mine. And she said, "For 9 years. I've been by your side. Watching you. Respecting you. Wishing I could say something. You never crossed a line. Not once. Even when things were bad. But now? Now there's nothing stopping me." I didn't know what to say. So I just looked at her. And then I asked one question. My voice still shaky. "How many kids do you want?" She laughed. "At least 2. But let's just see where this goes." And just like that, a new chapter began. Was I healed? No. Was I ready? Probably not. But I was free. And sometimes, that's enough. To start again. They say time heals everything. But whoever said that never had to walk away from children they once called their own. A month had passed. I was living in Michelle's guest room. The house was quiet. Calm. No screams. No cartoons. No patter of little feet on hardwood floors. Just silence. And I'll be honest. It was deafening. Some mornings, I'd wake up expecting James to crawl into bed with me. Or hear Sonia giggling in the hallway. But there was nothing. Just the faint hum of the coffee machine. And the steady breathing of a woman who didn't lie to me. Michelle. She never pushed. Never made any demands. She just existed beside me. Solid. Grounded. One morning, I sat at the kitchen table, staring at the settlement check from Bill. I hadn't deposited it yet. Michelle slid a cup of coffee in front of me and said, "Cash it." I didn't answer. She sat across from me, crossed her arms, and said it again. "Cash it, Gary. That check is the final weight around your neck. Get rid of it." So I did. That same day, I cashed it. Paid off the company loan. Closed every open financial wound. It was done. Everything was clean. Later that week, I got a letter. From Vanessa. Not an email. Not a text. A handwritten letter. Sloppy penmanship. Tear stains. Pages and pages. She begged me to be a father again. Said the kids missed me. Said she'd made a terrible mistake. She even tried to guilt me. They still ask for you. You're the only dad they've ever known. You're better than this. I didn't respond. She followed it up with a voicemail. Her voice was shaking. "I know you hate me. But please, don't abandon them." I deleted it. Michelle watched me do it. Didn't say a word. She knew better than anyone. This wasn't about hate. It was about survival. Because if I went back, even once, it would undo everything I'd rebuilt. Vanessa had her consequences. Bill had his. And I had my freedom. The truth is, there's no perfect ending when children are involved. There's no clean emotional break when you've raised them. But I had to choose. And I chose myself. The day the court dismissed the final custody plea, I felt no victory. Just relief. One by one, the doors of my old life closed. And I didn't open them again. Instead, I started building something new. Michelle and I didn't jump into anything overnight. No grand declarations. No Instagram announcements. Just small, steady steps. Dinner at home. Evenings on the porch. Workdays that didn't feel like war zones anymore. One night, I found her in the living room, sorting through old photo albums. She looked up and asked me, "Would you ever want more kids?" I paused. Then said quietly, "Only if I know they are mine." She smiled. Fair enough. Months passed. Then something happened I didn't expect. I got a call from Lorraine, my lawyer. She said, "Vanessa's moving out of state. She's relinquishing all claims. She won't challenge custody again." That was it. No drama. No final confrontation. Just silence. Like a storm that finally ran out of rain. That night, I sat on the back deck with Michelle. The sun was setting. The sky was orange. Cool air, quiet trees. And I realized I hadn't felt that peaceful in years. I turned to her. "Thank you." She looked confused. For what? For staying when it got ugly. For not judging me. For being the only person who never lied. She didn't reply. Just leaned over and kissed me. Soft. Certain. And that's when it hit me. I didn't lose everything. I lost what wasn't mine. And in return, I found what was. Strength. Clarity. Freedom. And maybe, just maybe, a shot at real happiness. Not the kind built on illusions. but something real. Earned. Quiet. Strong. That's where my story ends. I walked through fire. Lost my name. Lost my legacy. Lost what I thought was my family. But I came out the other side. Sharper. Wiser. And free. So to anyone listening, if you've been lied to, if you've been betrayed, if you're stuck wondering if you'll ever feel whole again, let this be your sign. You will. It won't be fast. It won't be clean. But it'll be worth it. Just don't look back. Not even once. Because what's behind you was never meant to stay.